Hey there, welcome everyone guys. This is Astro from Shambo. Yes, I'm playing the Stanley Parable only because it's free right now on Epic Games. See, it's free. This one. No. Watch also is not the thing. Like, hey, no, this isn't free. Gotta fix that. We're done out of here. When I first saw this and read its description, everything is so weird. Right now, this thing really looks like there is some jump scare or something. Don't know for sure. So let's just start the game and see what it feels like. Alright, let's just get into it.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on the keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Well, so the narrator in this game gives me orders to do what I mean orders, simply orders to do something. That block, no, that's not oriented to the order. Still, it's already animated, nice. I guess I will do two different sorts of videos in this game, like one where I follow every order of the narrator, and another one I won't follow a single order.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
What is that, calendar or something? Oh my god, I can't see it. The speed is so weird. As far as I know, this is some sort of Half-Life mode. That's what I remember from being young. Like, sometime I heard that there's indeed a Half-Life mod. Let's just go. Oh, I think this door open.
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Let's just go. Nice pictures, bro. There's the meeting room.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
There's so many stuffs for this. Something whiteboard manager. Okay, whiteboard manager. The graphics is pretty smooth and okay. Nice. Everything like is scanned from photos and properly implemented. I like that. 5 more water coolers. Oh.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Okay. Nice. I actually like this design. That's classroom. Hello. You want close, huh? Really? Ah, yes, you did close. What's over here? Reception. And as usual, there's no one in the boss office.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
Is there anything else written? Let's just scroll for it.
Stanley just settled, yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Oh, what the hell? Please don't, no jump scares. What is this? Loading.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long.
Oh no, shit.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
What? Can't call EX for immediately. Oh, what? I can't escape, but no, curiosity. It's gonna kill me, just like the cat, but it's alright. What's all this gibberish? There's a mic.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
Oh my god. Close. Camera button.
Now the monitors jumped to life.
Oh,
their
those
true
numbers.
nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building,
number.
Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
Wait. Weird. And this is from where to send the instruction. Okay, 427, 427. Yes. Change. Come back to the feed. Okay, shit. Trigger again. Trigger the number again. That one. I gotta keep an eye out for it.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
Yep, yes, obviously yes.
No.
What?
He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable. Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world?
How big is
But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
Yes, I will do it. Which way? This thing over there. There are a lot of buttons over here. 1, 2. Gotta press it simultaneously. That's 4. Whatever, fine. Okay, I see it. I'll start it over again. 1, 2. That's 5. Maybe I should follow the way. 1, 2. This way somewhere. Where the hell is 3? Where the hell is 3? Okay. 3. And I'll go for the 4. Then it's 5. So 5. Anything for sprinting? No, nothing. This thing suddenly has all my attention. Nothing like 6. What's this place? I don't want to get down there. Maybe 50 with the power. Is there one? Let's try it. Let's see what happens. Whatever happens, happens. No, it's... Oh, what? 10? I gotta go with the power. These buttons were useless, I guess.
And when at last he found the source of the room's power, he knew it was his duty, his obligation, to put an end to this horrible place and to everything it stood for.
Okay. Okay.
Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes. He had won. He had defeated the machine. unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him, for it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door.
This is all a trick. This is a trick. I'm entering some sort of simulation. This is not a thing. No, I don't want to.
Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
Okay, what? This short? What? I'm back.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Okay, this time I'm not gonna play by the rules. This time I'm going to go not play by the rules. Let's see what the other ending is. Because everything should be happy.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Employee lounge. Sorry, employee lounge.
Ah, yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in.
No, I simply stood here.
But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
No, maybe it will lead me back to the... Okay?
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
I'm already at some weird place. Okay, this game just took a weird turn.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her. This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself. To put your work aside. To let her back into your life.
Okay.
She's been waiting.
What? What is this place? Oh, okay.
That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this. To reach out to her. If you can truly place your faith in another, then pick up the phone.
No, I'm not picking up the phone. No. This game has so many possibilities. I will do multiple episodes. I should have done this in this one. I'm not picking up the phone. It gotta get disconnected sometime. Let me... Please stop. 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 Pull the plug.
As Stanley picked
Okay.
up the phone,
What?
a white light engulfed him, filling him not just with radiance, but with hope. Hope for a life reunited one... Wait. Oh, goodness. Stanley, did you just unplug the phone?
Oh my
No,
god.
that wasn't supposed to be a choice. How did you do that? You actually chose incorrectly? I didn't even know that was possible. Let
me
me
too.
double check.
Me too. Okay, mind
It's
control.
definitely
No
here,
mind
clear as day.
control.
Stanley picks up the phone. He's taken to his apartment where he finds his wife, and the two pledge themselves to one another. Music comes in, fade to white, roll credits. Not picking up the phone is actually somehow
Brilliant
an
game.
incorrect
Brilliant
course of
game.
action. How is that even possible? None of these decisions were supposed to mean anything. I don't understand. How on earth are you making meaningful choices? What did you... Wait a second. Did I just see... No, that's not possible. I can't believe it. How had I not noticed it sooner? You're not Stanley. You're a real person. I can't believe I was so mistaken. This is why you've been able to make correct and incorrect choices. And to think I've been letting you run around in this game for so long. If you'd made any more wrong choices, you might have negated it entirely. It's as though you completely ignored even the most basic safety protocol for real-world decision-making. Or did you not grasp the severity of the situation? Well, I won't have that kind of risk on my watch. I'm going to stop the game for a moment so we can educate you properly on safe decision-making in the real world. Please observe this helpful instructional video.
No.
Choice. It's the best part of being a real person. But if used incorrectly, can also be the most dangerous. For example, in this scenario, a hypothetical real person named Stephen has a choice. He could spend years helping improve the quality of life for citizens of impoverished third world nations. Or he could systematically set fire to every orphan living in a 30-kilometer radius of his house. Which choice would you make? Remember that unlike here, the real world makes sense, and at no time should you make a choice that does not conform to rational logic. If you find yourself speaking with a person who does not make sense, in all likelihood, that person is not real. Allow the person to finish their thought, then provide an excuse why you cannot continue talking. Turn to a partner and practice saying, "My goodness, is it 4:30? I'm supposed to be having a back, sack, and crack."
I'm supposed... What? I don't know. Practice. Okay. You wanna take a test? I will.
Excellent. Making choices on a regular basis is the best part to a healthy decision-making process. Most medical professionals recommend making at least 8 choices per day. Do you make more than 8?
8
Less?
choices, yeah. To come
And
or not
finally,
to come, to
if you
beat or
begin to
not
wonder
beat,
if your
to
choices
rank
are
or not to
actually
rank.
meaningful and whether you'll ever make a significant contribution to the world, just remember that in the vast infiniteness of space, your thoughts and problems are materially insignificant, and the feeling should subside. At this time, your instructor will guide you in an exercise to test and reinforce the material covered in this video.
Your instructor.
Welcome back. You may have noticed
the-
that this room has begun to deteriorate as a result of narrative contradiction. But not to worry. Now that you're properly informed on good decision-making, we're going to revisit a choice you made just a few minutes ago and see what the correct thing to do would have been. This way, please.
There's something else to do somewhere. I have to go this way.
Now that we know your choices are meaningful, we can't have you jumping off the platform and dying. Imagine the main character dying senselessly halfway through the story. That story would make no sense at all.
I wanted to go
We
for
just
that
need to
door.
get you home as soon as possible before the narrative contradiction gets any worse. Unfortunately, it seems this place is not well equipped to deal with reality.
Stop all this shit. I don't want to go back. Take me there. That door. There has to be somewhere. I can't jump. Ridiculous. Give me something. Give me something. I don't want to go. Come on. Okay, jumping out of the cargo lift. 5 grand penalty. Yeah, who's gonna pay for that? Ready? I'm dead. No, please. I don't want to go back. Yeah, what the hell?
Almost there. You'll take the door on the left, back to the correct ending, the story will have resolution once again, and you'll be home free in the real world.
Okay, I'll take the door on the left, but I'll go downstairs this time. This game is not as simple as it seems.
Now remember, all you need to do is behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
So it all restarted.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Exit when unlocked. You can't jump. Yes. Wait, what? There were stairs earlier. There were stairs earlier. I want to begin this game once again. This isn't possible. There were stairs earlier. There were stairs earlier. Okay, come on. Come on, give me stairs. I want to go. I will restart this. Another episode. Let's just go. I put in the wrong code this time. Oh! Everything has changed. Everything has changed.
Stepping inside his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this, until he saw the door with a voice receiver next to it. Surely behind this door lay all the answers to his questions. And beyond all probability, he knew the passcode. He had seen it on his boss's computer just last week. Night Shark 115. Was this the code to open the door? Would it still work? There was only one way to find out. Stanley had been trained never to speak up, but now he would draw from within himself the courage to face the unknown. He drew a sharp breath and then spoke the code.
Night Shark 115.
Stanley spoke the code. Night Shark 115. He spoke it into the receiver, right there on the wall. I'm sorry, is there a problem? You didn't mishear me, did you? Please speak the code into the receiver. Otherwise we can't get on with the story. This is a crucial step.
Night Shark 115.
Okay, fine. You're not going to do it. But you know what? It's pretty humiliating to bring you this far, only for you to suddenly decide you have better things to do. I asked you for this one single thing, for your respect. The kind of respect Stanley shows for his choices. He knows what it means to take a story seriously. If you didn't want to see what I had to show you, then why did you come here? You had a choice, you know. You could have gone through the door on the right. You could have done whatever the hell you wanted over there. Why did you come this way? Speak. Say something to me. Explain yourself, you coward. Behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Let's get over with this fast. I want to see the credits.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, is behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
What the hell is happening?
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, is behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly.
Is this supposed to happen?
And always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right.
I'll go right this time.
When
okay,
Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Let's just go.
No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry back in the other direction. Perhaps we're not too late.
Yeah, I'll go this way. Something's wrong with this noise. The game has turned. It has changed. It is doing this on purpose. It's not wrong with the game. The meeting room. It's all being done on purpose. Come on, let me out.
Oh, it's ruined. I can't believe, after everything we talked about, that my story, you've destroyed my work. Why? For what? What did you get out of that? What did you think was so special about seeing the game undone, left here like so much garbage? It's worthless now. And what am I supposed to do? Even if there were a way to continue, would it be worth it? To know that my story is now incorrect? How can I go back to that? I can't erase that knowledge. I'll have to live with it forever, reliving its impossibility forever. I couldn't live that way. Is it better to shut the game down entirely? To willingly destroy all of my work? I don't know. What's the answer? What do I do? What do I do? What do I... No, I have to. I have to shut the game down. I have to. I have to.
Mind blowing. I'm back. Where?
I'm here. I'm still here. Here in this pile of rubbish. With you. You. Who thought you were so clever. Now look where we are. My entire game is destroyed. It was the only thing in the world that was mine, and you run it into the ground. What, did you think that would be funny? You just had to see? Didn't I impress upon you how important it was to be like Stanley? He actually knows how to do what I tell him to. He understands that if I say to do something, there's a damn good reason for it. That thought hadn't even occurred to you, had it? That there's a world outside of you? You're a child.
Okay, making a child, my child.
My story. If you'd just gone through the door on the left, you would have seen it. There was a whole underground facility. You would have destroyed it and been victorious. It would have been so perfect. I worked so hard on it. I tried so hard. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Stanley? Hello? Are you... Is everything okay? Stanley, please. I need you to make a choice. I need you to walk through the door. Are you listening to me? Can you hear me? Is everything all right? Stanley, this is important.
I did it.
The story needs you. It needs you to make a decision. It cannot exist without you. Do you understand me? Whatever choice you make is just fine. They're both correct. You cannot be wrong here. We can work together. I'll accept whatever you do. I simply need you to take that step forward, please. Choose. Do something. Anything. This is more important than you can ever know. I need this. The story needs it.
So, you hear me? Are you there? You listening to this? Stanley, are you there? Okay. It's okay, I can wait. You need time to decide. Time to make sure your choice is correct. That is the best choice. That's all right. I'll wait for you to decide what's the right thing to do. Take as much time as you need.
I think it's wrong. Okay, okay, now I can't move. Sorry all again. I have to go for dinner.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
2 stores are open. So are these. 3 store is supposed to be open.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Yes, it's there.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all. None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming, he yelled. This is all a dream. Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground.
No.
Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical star field, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, He knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago?
Oh.
How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would
That's why
prove
it said everything
He would
seemed
prove
repeating.
that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment, and my wife, and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am okay.
Okay, I'm back. Once again, looping.
Stanley began screaming. Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black.
Who is this orchestrating someone's life?
This is the story of a woman named Mariella.
Oh, what? I just don't know
Mariella
the
woke up on a
part of
day like any other. She
Can you-
arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy, this much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day, the very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
And if it starts again, I'm not playing anymore. Okay. I don't find any other choices. I'll stop this right here. Thanks for coming. Thanks for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Please go hit the subscribe button, like this video, and share this to your friends. Thank you.